to such an extent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned the hadith, man qata'a raham qata'ahu Allah, that person who breaks ties of relationship, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala breaks them. La yadkhulul jannata qati'ur raham, that person who breaks ties does not enter Jannah. This is how much emphasis has been put on in the relationship of marriage between husband and wife, is how to keep connected and to keep connected with the extended family also, not just between the husband and wife only or their children only. Because you've got the aunties, you've got the uncles, you've got the grandparents, and you've got the cousins and so on. Unfortunately, in this current day and age, we find that this connection between the khandans, the families, is not maintained the way it's supposed to be maintained. And as a result of this, relationships become pear-shaped. There's no trust amongst one another. There's no connection. And one of the main reasons for this is that when we assess the situation, especially amongst young married couples nowadays, we find that there is no tolerance between husband and wife. Rather, some people don't even have any idea of how a marriage should be maintained. And as a result of this, arguments take place, physical fights take place. And the worst thing about it is that the parents of either side take the side of their own son or the side of their own daughter. There is no justice. Now, naturally, if there is no justice in a situation, the matter is not going to get resolved amicably. And then further on, if it goes into a situation where now a divorce needs to take place, then even then, matters of divorce are not maintained and exercised in the correct manner that it should be. As Muslims, Muslim means to submit oneself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, in every aspect of our lives, no matter what it is, our source of guidance is the Quran and Sunnah. And when we study the Quran, we will find the answer to all our situations in there. First and foremost, when there is an issue between a husband and wife, and if a divorce is going to take place, nauzubillah, and we have to accept the reality, my friends. Okay, this is what is happening. So what does Allah Ta'ala say in the Quran regarding matters of this nature? In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in Surah Talaq. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu, O my beloved Nabi, إِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ, that when or if you give talaq, divorce, to your women. Now this is an verse of the Quran for the Ummah also, although it's addressed directly to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but it goes to the whole of the Ummah. فَطَلِقُهُنَّ لِإِدَّتِهِنَّ وَأَحْصُوا الْإِدَّةِ. When you give talaq to your women, give it to them whilst they are in purity, not during the, what do you call it, period of impurity. وَأَحْصُوا الْإِدَّةِ. Now, how many times we hear that somebody has given talaq to their wife while she is in her monthly periods? This is completely against the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, فَطَلِقُهُنَّ لِإِدَّتِهِنَّ وَأَحْصُوا الْإِدَّةِ, and get them to fulfill their iddah, the period of waiting. So the procedure for talaq is, number one, that it should be given not during whilst the woman is in her monthly periods. Secondly, when a talaq is given, then the woman is required to stay in the husband's home for the period of her iddat. The reason for this is, and this is one talaq, not three talaqs. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says in the hadith, Abgadul halali indallahi at-talaq, that the most horrible thing in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most horrible halal thing in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving divorce to a person. Giving divorce is divorce to a wife. But the fact is that there is a way out if things don't work out. So number one is to give the talaq in a period, in a time of purity for the woman. Number two is to make sure that the woman spends her time of her iddah in the husband's home. Now why is this? And then Allah Ta'ala says, Wattaqullah Rabbakum, fear your Lord in this matter. La tukhrijuhunna min buyutihin, do not take them out of your home. Don't tell them to get lost from here. Wait, that same woman you spend time with, that same woman you share the bed with, that same woman who was supposed to have been the coolness of your eyes. Hunna libasul lakum wa antum libasul lahun. That they were your covering and she was your covering. A woman can make a home Jannah, but that depends on how we deal with the woman. Unfortunately, we find that nowadays people are so abusive with their women. It reminds you of the times of Jahiliyyah. Before the advent of Islam, Islam came and Allah Ta'ala honored women. So who are you and I to now start dishonoring them? Abuse such as laying a hand on a woman, beating, making her all blue and purple. This is not what we call insaniyat. This is not the quality of a Muslim. Things will happen. Disagreements will take place. But above all, there needs to be tolerance. Right? Not using abusive language and not using physical abuse against a woman. She's weaker than a man. Go out there, if you think you're so tough, then go out there and pick on somebody your own size. Just because she can't do anything doesn't mean that you take advantage of the situation. And if you have an anger problem, go and do something about it. Go and do something about it. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam regarding anger, that if you get angry, move away from the situation. Or if you're standing, sit down. Or make wuzu. Read ta'awuz, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. These are some remedies for controlling one's anger. And in the spur of anger, then, the man gives the talaq. Okay, fine. Nobody's going to say it nicely with a smiling face to their wife, right? That I'm giving you a talaq, darling, today. Huh? Nobody's going to do that. Right? Are you okay about it? Nobody's going to be okay about it. Right? It's a situation. It's going to happen. Right? May Allah safeguard all marriages. But it's inevitable, it's happening. And we are seeing it and hearing about it day in, day out. So, when it comes to matters of this nature, we should try to sort these out also amicably, my friends. Right? Not everything is going to be hunky-dory all the while. If it comes to the situation Sort it out amicably. Okay, look, unfortunately, it seems that we have gone into this marriage, but we are not compatible, or we are having these issues. Either we try to iron them out nicely, or we call it a day. We call our elders and we call it a day, right? And this is the tertib. Give her one talaq, she must stay inside the home with you. And the reason for this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that it is possible that by keeping her inside your home, giving her one talaq, a raj'i, by keeping her inside your home, it is possible that your hearts may soften. It is possible that your hearts may soften. After a few days, you realize, oh, what's happened is petty, and often they are petty things. Let's just get back together. Okay, so they do ruju, getting back together. So there's hikmah behind all these injunctions that Allah Ta'ala has given us. But nowadays we find that as soon as a talaq takes place, the woman goes away to her home, to her parents' home. And the husband doesn't even bother, right, about her. So this is not the correct way, right? She must stay within the home. Yes, if things are really nasty, right, and maybe she's verbally abusing, or he's verbally abusing her, and it's got quite physical and so on, right? There is a different situation. Then to avoid any serious mishaps or any serious incidents, then it's better that then she goes and makes arrangements to her own parents' house or wherever. So number one. Number two is that when a talaq takes place also, and when it comes to matters of children, we find that there are a lot of issues in society when it comes to matters of children. There is a massive court fight, case against each other, who's going to have the children, who's not going to have the children. There's a massive court case against each other regarding child maintenance. And she wants to siphon him for every penny that he's got. Right? And he wants to do her left, right, and center. Right? This is not insaniyat, my friends. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He says very clearly that those people in this situation, it is the man's responsibility to make sure that he provides for the woman during the course of her iddah, and also when it comes to things of matters of child maintenance. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not stipulated a certain amount, although in this country the government has stipulated a certain threshold for matters of child maintenance and things like that, right? So that the child is brought up nicely, okay, and his needs are fulfilled, or her needs are fulfilled. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not stipulated a certain amount that is going to be this amount. What does Allah Ta'ala say in the Quran? Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran that لِيُنْفِقْ ذُو سَعْتِ مِنْ سَعَتِهِ وَمَنْ قُدِرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقُهُ فَلْيُنْفِقْ مِمَّا آتَاهُ اللَّهُ لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا مَا آتَاهَا. That he should spend what he is able to according to his means. So if he's wealthy, he shouldn't be stingy, and he should give accordingly. And if he's not so wealthy, if he's wealthy, he should give according to his means and not be stingy. And the woman should not demand and scream left, right, and center for every penny that he's got. And if he is not so wealthy, then he should give whatever he can. Again, the woman should not make unnecessary demands, because he can't afford it anyway. But he needs to be reasonable also, that okay, this is my income, this is my expenses, this is what I have left over, this is what I can give. At the end of the day, they are his children. And if we can't take responsibility, then why go into a marriage? Why have children if we can't take responsibility? So, my friends, two things, okay, is when, if Allah forbid, a divorce takes place between husband and wife, right, sort it out amicably, without fighting with each other. Accept that there is a problem. Don't we do that with other things? If we lose our job, don't we accept that there's a problem now, I need to look for another job? If there is a matter to do with the court, we accept that I've got a problem, let me sort it out now. I need to go to a lawyer. Sort it out amicably. And matters of this nature, obviously, because the relationship is such, the husband and wife relationship is such, that it is so sacred, that when there is an argument also between husband and wife and they are not talking to each other, neither can he sleep at night, neither can she sleep at night. Why? Because they love each other. They are husband and wife. This is a bond, a special bond that Allah Ta'ala has created between husband and wife. So two things. One is that matters of this nature need to be sorted out amicably. Number two is that if it does come to the crunch, right, then deal with each other fairly, my friends. Without having a fight, without being verbally abusive, without being physically abusive. And unfortunately, I have to say this, I gave a similar bayan last week also in Wellingborough. I have to say this, but unfortunately, most of the time, it is the in-laws that cause the issues. Because the mother-in-law is supporting her own child, the mother of the boy is supporting her own child, and they don't justify the situation. And the in-laws are mostly the cause of this. If the mother of the daughter was to put her in a place, and the parents of the son were to put him in his place, I guarantee you the matter will be resolved much more better and quicker, inshallah. So you mother-in-laws and father-in-laws, you need to take a step back. Honestly, I'm being very straightforward here. You need to take a step back. If you can't deal with it, right, justifiably, get somebody else involved in the matter, because this is your children's lives at the end of the day and their children's lives. So it's not just two lives. If they've got kids, that's more children's lives at the end of the day. And you've got Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to answer to on the day of judgment. Fear Allah. This is why Allah says, Wattaqullah, Wattaqullah. Even here Allah Ta'ala says, Wattaqullah. Fear Allah. What good is it going to be to you that the marriage finishes and your daughter is sitting with you at home and your son is sitting with you at home? What good is that to you? Some people are proud of the situation like, oh yes, I did him left, right and center, or I did her left, right and center. Astaghfirullah. What sort of an attitude is this? This is not the inside, this is not the attitude of a Muslim. This is why we say, learn the Quran, sit with the ulama, learn from them. That what we need to do in every situation in our life. And when we currently look at the situation of divorces in our Muslim society, it is increasing day in, day out. There are more and more divorces, more and more one-parent families in our society. And when everything goes pear-shaped, now they're sitting with their hands on their head saying, oh, what's happened? What have I done? It's too late. And then we are looking for another partner for the daughter or another partner for the son. Why not deal with it properly right from the beginning? So mother-in-laws and father-in-laws, I'm sorry, but I have to say this, you are mostly the cause of these issues. Because you haven't done the tarbiyah of your children properly, this is why you are having these issues. And you don't want to justify or accept that your daughter is at fault or your son is at fault. So my friends, let's learn more about matters of this nature and deal with matters of this nature more amicably in the future. Learn from the ulama, ask the ulama, take their advice, and inshallah, matters will be sorted out properly. And one more final thing to husbands and wives also, right, is that often we find also between husband and wives, right, ke naak unchi hoti hai. Why should I apologize? Why should I say sorry? Hey, he's your husband at the end of the day, or she's your wife at the end of the day. What difference does that make? Is keeping your nose up more important than your relationship? Your relationship is more important. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you and I all the tawfiq to act upon what has been said. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.